We are live now.
I'm calling to order the City Council Successor Agency Financing Housing Power California Choice Energy Authority meeting. You know, I bet we could change the name of that and make it a little shorter. It is being conducted telephonically, virtually, pursuant to Governor's Order N2920. Because this is a telephonic meeting, all votes will be taken by roll call. City Clerk, can you call the roll?
City Council Member, Agency Director, Authority Member Doris.
Present.
Molly.
Present.
Mann.
Present.
Vice Mayor, Vice Chair Chris.
Present.
Mayor Chair Paris.
Present.
We have a quorum.
And I'm going to turn it over to Kitty Zito, who will call the roll for the Housing Authority. I guess you will, actually, but she has to ask you to.
Yeah, actually, Kitty will not be at this meeting, unfortunately.
Kitty abandoned her post? All right. Vice Chair Chris, would you do the honors?
Certainly. Could we have roll call, please?
Housing Authority members Harvey.
Present.
Molly.
Present.
Mann.
Present.
Vice Chair Chris.
Present.
Chair Zito. We have a quorum.
Move to excuse Chairman Zito.
Second. Roll call vote, please.
Housing Authority members Harvey.
Yes.
Molly.
Yes.
Mann.
Yes.
Vice Chair Chris.
Yes.
Thank you. Tonight, we're honored to have Pastor Tom Pickens lead us in the opening prayer.
It is my pleasure. Good evening, everyone. Let us pray. Father, we come before you in Jesus' name to thank you, first of all, for your love. We thank you for your provision. Father, we need help in our world today, and we know that you are the one that has the wisdom, the know-how, the knowledge. And so we seek that from you. You said that the Comforter would comfort us in times of comfort. And so we pray that those that need comforting would receive it. And then we thank you and praise you for all of our city officials, from the president's house, Father, to the smallest city, to the largest state. We need your help. And so we ask you in Jesus' name to bless these men and women that have political assignments with the know-how, with the knowledge to make decisions that would be equitable for all concerned. We thank you and praise you for each of our council members. We pray for the mayor of our city, and we thank you, Lord, that you have blessed him with the wisdom and with the talent, the know-how, in order to oversee this great city. And we give you the glory, all of the honor for it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Pickens.
You're welcome. You can.
We can move on to the presentations. And Jason, what? Did you want to say something? Jason?
Me? No, I'm ready. I'm sorry. As you know, each year the Justice Sunday is a partnership between the city of Lancaster and a number of community members, which you see on here today. I'm going to turn it over to Nigel Hawley, who's been leading that effort for a number of years, to tell the story, and then also share. I think he's got some of the participants there to share as well. But each year it is a phenomenal event. This year we did it online. It was a much different COVID year, but at the end of the day, Nigel pulled it off again with his group of engaged citizens. So with that, I'll turn it over to Nigel.
Let me go ahead and have the first words there, if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor and City Council. First of all, I just want you, Mr. City Manager, along with the leadership of our mayor and the council, thank you all for supporting every year the Justice Sunday movement, and this year has been nonetheless good, and we certainly appreciate it. Also, I wanted to mention that we appreciate you all keeping us in a good way, not just making it through, but really in a good way, and we appreciate it very much. I also want to thank our superintendent. I don't know if he's on tonight or not, And were we able to catch up with him, Nigel?
We sent out an email. I don't know if he
I don't know if he did or not.
if he joined or not.
But they really work with us, and I don't know how to introduce Nigel. You guys know him as well as I do. And he has done a phenomenal job of working with the kids through the pandemic and everything else. He's just done a wonderful job. So I wanted to take the time to say to the mayor and city council and to the city manager and all of the staff, thank you guys for taking care of us and making sure that we had everything in line. And the public relations people, the cameras, everything was available to us and everything was lined up. And I'm very appreciative for it. Mr. Holly, take it over.
Thank you, Bishop. First of all, I want to give thanks to our city council, our mayor. I want to give a special thanks to Jason, who really just pushed this really hard this year.
He really did.
And connecting us with the LPAC. I want to thank all of the LPAC staff. They were very tolerant and understanding and helping us work with the youth this year. This year's play was entitled Eclectic, and it was Black America's love letter to the United States. And we wanted to do it acknowledging and bringing to the forefront those musicians that may have not received credit throughout history. It's been an awesome experience and an amazing journey. These kids really did awesome this year, considering we were under the restraints of the pandemic. They were able to pull this production off in 27 days. And that is from writing a play, learning their lines, and then going in and recording the play. A lot of people don't realize that these youth had to go in and practice and record on the same day because we couldn't have them all at the LPAC at the same time. And so I just think they did a phenomenal job. I want to give a few of them an opportunity to just say hello and kind of talk a little bit about their experience. I'm going to start with Angela Cuevas, and then we'll have Deanna Long, and then we'll have Veronica Castro say just a few words. Angela?
Hi. The Justice Sunday experience this year was pretty unusual, but I really enjoyed it because I felt like we get to have a little bit more of a personal experience with everyone involved, even though we're over the computer and stuff. And it really was a crunch for time. But I'm super proud of the entire Justice Sunday team for being able to pull it off because it was really a challenge. But it's amazing to be a part of Justice Sunday because it gives me the opportunity to meet kids from other schools and like people I would never have the opportunity to meet, and just the opportunity to learn things about history that I didn't know before becoming a part of Justice Sunday. And I'm so happy to be a part of it for 2 years in a row now. I watched it the year before and I was a part of the audience, and it just inspired me so much that I knew that's what I wanted to do the next year. And my only regret is not becoming a part of this beautiful process sooner. Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Niana? For some reason, we can't hear you,
You've got
Niana.
a wonderful voice, but you got to turn on the mic.
Now?
Yeah.
Yeah, am I quiet?
Yeah, a little bit.
I think I have to yell. I don't know what's wrong with my mic.
Okay.
But I've been a part of Justice Sunday for the last 2 years. Last year was obviously in person, and this year was digital, which was completely different from the last year. But this year, I feel like the experience was just, like Angela said, it was more personal. I got a chance to interact and really get to know my castmates and my co-writers much better. And just the process of being able to put together a show with these new people that I've never met before is just amazing. And it's built my confidence and helped me grow as a person, which I really have like a great appreciation for. So thank you for that, Nigel. And yeah, I think that's all I got to say.
All right. Thank you, Niana. And now we'll have Veronica say a few words. I see another one of my students in the chat too. I'll let her say hello. We didn't have her plan to say anything, but we'll let her say hello. Veronica?
Can you hear me?
Yes. We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Oh, damn it, turn my camera on. Okay, hold on. Sorry about that. All right. Can you see me?
Pull your camera up a little bit. Higher. There you go.
I want to say thank you to everyone for being a part of Justice Sunday. I got to meet a lot of new people, and especially the LPAC, like the people who directed and helped us film the video themselves. I'm very appreciative of them because they're really helpful. Like, I don't think we would have been able to pull it off without them. They went out of their way for us, and I'm very appreciative of that. And also the city itself for donating their time, their efforts, their materials, stuff like that. And then as my castmates, friends, people, as they were saying, I got to meet everyone like a lot more personally, given that we were super restricted and we were there with each other for like 7 hours all at once. We really got to know each other. So I'm very thankful for that as well. And I'm hoping that next year I could also be a part of Justice Sunday. It's a great experience. I recommend it for everybody. It's not only a fun memorial event, but it's also very educational. We learn a lot about other people, other cultures, and the things about them. And yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you, Veronica.
Yeah.
Miracle, I'm going to put you on the spot to say hey real quick, and then I'm going to hand it back over to you, Mayor Paris.
Hi, so...
I'm sorry.
Oh, can I go?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, hi, my name is Miracle. This is my first Justice Sunday event, and it was really fun, and I was able to make some really cool friends, and I was able to learn a lot about my history, and I'm so grateful for this experience, and I can't wait to do it next year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miracle. All right, I'm gonna hand it over to you, Mayor Paris. Again, we just thank the city, we thank the LPAC, we thank Antelope Valley Union High School District. It really takes a whole community to make this work. We've been fortunate enough to be acknowledged nationally. The Antelope Valley is the only place in the country that has 5 schools that have been recognized as national ambassadors for African American history by the 400 Years of African American History Commission Act. Yes, that's a mouthful. So, and it's all because of our city council, all because of our city manager, all because of our Union High School District, Bishop and myself, everyone working together in concert to make these things happen. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Nigel. Nigel, I have a certificate for you for your work on Justice Sunday. And I hesitate to give it to you because it is inadequate. Since the day I was elected, you have been engaged in this city, doing things for this city, doing especially for the young people of this city. You have not always been in agreement with me, but from the day I became mayor, you have been there, and a certificate like this is inadequate for all that you have done. You know, you started the truancy program with Lita Rico that was just a fabulous success. Matter of fact, it's so successful that all last year nobody cut any classes. Well, at least at the school. A little bit of a joke. No, they weren't allowed to go to school. Never mind.
I got it.
You got it. But before COVID hit, our truancy rate was dropping like a rock. And that was because of you and Mr. DeRico's efforts. We owe you a debt. If every citizen had 1% of commitment that you have, this place would be utopia. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And I didn't mention Lita Rico. I do want to give a special shout out to Lita Rico. He always has my back on everything we do. It's pretty cool to work with him and have someone that has that much confidence in you.
Good. Thank you. So where are we going now, Jason?
We'll talk about Mr. Coleman.
Okay, you want to? I know who Mr. Coleman is. Mr. Coleman is more than worthy of this award. I just don't have the script to read, and so I'm going to turn that over to you. Okay.
Yep, I will read the script, and then I'll turn it over to Andy to kind of tell the inside story. And I know her passion for what she does and what Mr. Coleman does as well. So every year, the Museum of Art and History and Lancaster Museum and Public Art Foundation honor a community member their dedicated service to the community. This year, we honor Wyatt Kenneth Coleman, who is a civil rights photographer and an Air Force veteran. Coleman's career spans more than 50 years as a freelance photographer and photojournalist. His work documents everyday people participating in nonviolent activism by committing acts of kindness and working towards social justice. We are proud to honor Wyatt Kenneth Coleman for his contributions to photography, activism, and leadership in the city of Lancaster and across the nation. In his own words, doing the right thing is really key. Thank you, Mr. Coleman. I'll now turn it over to Andy to tell the closer story of what he's done with the museum and what she's doing over there as well.
And tonight, I'm not going to be just speaking in terms of, from my perspective as a museum manager and curator, but also from a board member from the Lancaster Museum and Public Art Foundation. And we just have such great appreciation for Wyatt in the community, both as a civic leader, but also as an artistic leader, and the opportunities that he's created for young people in our community, and also the exhibitions that we've been able to have of his work, both at the Moa Cedar Galleries and here at the museum. And it is with humongously great honor to be able to present this award tonight to him. I'm a humongous fan, both professionally and personally. And I feel like if we had more individuals in our community that were like Wyatt, we wouldn't have to have equity commissions. We wouldn't have to go out of our way to find those moments where that we need to be more equitable and accessible for the rest of the community. He is that inspiration. So thank you so much, Wyatt.
Thank you.
I think the award is at City Hall. There you go. There it is. We'll get that to you.
Small token of thanks, but I'll turn it over to the mayor. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Wyatt.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Could I say a couple words?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank Andy and Moa, the staff here. The city of Lancaster is a wonderful place to call home. And I'm available for the next meeting. I love what you said, and I'm honored to receive this award. And I love living here in Lancaster, and it's a great place to call home. So thank you all.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, now I get to tell the story about the night before Christmas. Not a creature was stirring. Unfortunately, we had a hospital that was treating people in the parking lot. The staff had, they had put in so many hours and so many weeks and under conditions that nobody ever expected they would encounter. Medical people, the doctors and nurses, they're trained for catastrophic events that happen like a plane will crash. And you fill the hospital with trauma patients. But when a week goes by, you're relatively back to normal. You get to go home and go to bed. You get to sleep. You get to take care of your family. But that was not this crisis. This crisis went on, and is still going on, just not as badly. They encountered more death than anybody could possibly imagine. And that was Christmas Eve when I called Morris. And Morris is back in DC, but we've known him forever. He was Buck McKeon's, what were you, chief of staff for Buck McKeon? Whatever.
I was his district director.
Right. So he was who we had interfaced with for years. But I called Morris and I said, Morris, we need help. Can you help? And he says, well, let me see what I can do. This is Christmas Eve. Christmas Day, he sends me, I mean, it was a long process. He was talking to the congressman and different people, but by Christmas Day, the email went out from the head of FEMA to send us a team. And we had, 34 doctors and nurses arrive at AV Hospital just when we needed them the most. And it was Morris. It was Morris that made that happen. And he, I have the email, I'll treasure it forever, was from the chief of staff from the White House to the head of FEMA telling them to get us help. And then he wrote back and said, well, they got to apply first. We hadn't applied for it. It was the greatest Christmas present anybody could have ever given us. And you were in the background, behind the scenes, making it happen. And I will love you till the day I die. You saved us more than you can ever imagine. Thank you. And I want to show you the key to the city. We don't give many of these out. And soon we'll be able to give you that in person. We'll be resuming meetings in May. Okay, thank you.
I look forward to it. Look forward to it. If I may, one more footnote to that. I think that was the day after one of my brother's funeral that you placed that call.
Sure.
But I sincerely appreciate this distinguished honor, and I can't thank you enough. But the real thank you goes out to those dedicated hospital workers who put their well-being on the line to help their patients. The thank you also goes out to the dedicated city staff and Mayor Parrish, to you, who immediately initiated a desperate plea for assistance. Then I can't imagine anyone receiving that plea and not responding to it. On my father's tombstone, there's an inscription that says, care enough to make a difference. I believe that the city of Lancaster has demonstrated adherence to that inscription, and I am happy to do what I can to follow up on that advice also. I will be continuing to dedicate my personal and professional efforts on behalf of the city to do whatever I can to defeat the effects of this pandemic in Lancaster for as long as it takes. You have my promise, and thank you again. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Morris. Wait, what more can I say? You were there when we needed somebody the most. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Morris.
Be there.
Really appreciate it. From the rest of the council also.
Yes, thank you, Morris.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I plan to be in touch with all of you and Jason particularly to find out what the status of things are now and to see just what I can do, as I say, personally with my free time and professionally to move things along. I understand you're having some challenges with your vaccinations and getting them done. And I'm prepared to do whatever I can to assist, and don't hesitate to reach out. I think all of you know how to get me anytime, 24/7. You're a great community. You're a community that cares about its citizens and its people, and that has always struck me and to the heart. I mean, of course, I've lived in Santa Clarita, but I've been a part of Lancaster, and I see what you do, and I see what you do for your community, and I know the makeup of your community. And I couldn't be more proud than to work with a community like Lancaster, as several of your other people have indicated already. And I consider it one of my homes. So thank you again.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. We have 81, which is our COVID updates and action item, if we have to take any action. Who's leading? Is Dr. Trong or Dr. Stock running this?
I have the PowerPoint as usual, but some updates.
Hey, Anders is here. All right. Pay attention to that screen. Wow, he ran. And where did he go?
I'm ready to party, Mayor.
Okay. Now, when you're done, we can talk to the guy who actually did something this week. I mean, you're kind of heroic, not quite to the level of getting a key to the city, but you're on your way. I want you to know that.
Can we just leave now and just call it at that and just make it good?
This week is the week I've seen the county turn around and remember that they love us as much as we love them.
I picked the right week to show up then. On to the doctor.
Thank you.
Okay, so we continue to have a reasonably good coronavirus response in the United States, but throughout the world, they're not doing so well. To the right here is the graph that shows the new cases for the past 7 days. And as you can see, new cases are now climbing. And 14-day increase at 26%, and deaths are increasing as well. But we're not seeing that in the United States. We're seeing it throughout the world, other parts of the world. For example, Brazil is now the #1 for the new cases. We're still number 2. Other countries are climbing and are basically catching up. Europe, in particular, is struggling in a big way. These little graph shows what countries are suffering. France showing an increase, Italy, Poland, Germany, the Ukraine, Czech Republic, Hungary, just more countries. And if you look at the map, the heat map, the more dark purple, the higher it is. And it looks like it's Western Europe, and now it's going eastward, is struggling with their phase 3, surge number 3. Basically, they are shutting down many countries because of this COVID. The United States, we're doing okay. We're in the orange zone, but Brazil is also struggling, very similar to us back in January. So the United States is doing well, the world is not. And why is that? This is the problem, the B.1.1.7 variant. I've discussed her before. This one was first isolated in England in September, but now it's become the predominant virus in Europe. And for now, we've found out more things about it. It binds more tightly to ACE2 receptor cells, so it's more transmittable. It's a better fit virus than the wild type COVID-19. It causes more severe disease. It spreads more easily. It actually reduces the effectiveness of the current vaccine. And preliminary data from British Medical Journal says it's more deadly. So Europe is struggling with this. And the WHO had predicted about 3 months ago, but really couldn't do much. Germany CDC has said now that the UK variant is the dominant strain. It's the predominant infection in France and Italy, and Spain is also now struggling with it. Where is it in the United States right now? We are actually reporting a lot of cases, and the map shows that it's mostly in Florida now, and up here in Michigan. California is seeing some of it. We've reported about 300 to 450. But the worsening situation in Europe is cautionary for us. And we're predicting now that the CDC is predicting that it will become the dominant strain by early April. But that's okay. So far, we're now enjoying, the United States enjoying a drop in cases, total cases, the past 7 days, as you can see from the graph. Our 14-day is also improved by 11%, deaths dropped by 32%, hospitalizations by 18%. California is no longer the #1 state for new cases. It looks like New York, Florida, and New Jersey are basically taking the lead. Very favorable for us for the moment. This is the map that we are seeing. Usually we're mostly yellow and light orange throughout the country, very favorable. Very much different from the peak back in January, where basically most of the country was in the purple range, and California was #1 in cases and #1 in deaths. Going to California, we continue to enjoy the drop in cases. Here, 7-day average is very nicely down. 14-day average even better, 32% drop in cases, deaths, and hospitalizations. LA County is still the number one in terms of new cases, but it's very favorable overall. So now there's discussion in the literature regarding the new variant of concern, the California strain, the B1427 and the B1429. Although it is not very much throughout the country, it's about 8 to 3%, about 10%, 11%. But it is causing a lot of concern because now it has been shown to increase in transmissibility. It causes more severe disease. It causes antibodies not to be generated as well, and it also reduces the effectiveness of vaccines. It is the now it's 50% of all the strains in California. And it was first to start in July, but now it's predicted that it's going to be some 90% by the end of March. And it's already been shown that it's more infectious and can cause more severe disease. So we are enjoying our reduction now, but this is lurking. So far, though, overall, most of the counties in California are in the substantial red. We're no longer in the widespread range. And if we maintain the reduction in cases, we will probably move to the moderate range within 1 to 2 weeks. Going down to LA County, we are still in the red, but cases are only 521 of a total 1.2 million cases. The positivity rate has dropped substantially. We're now at 1.8%. And this is now, we're in the red tier where many places are opening 25% or more, and indoor operations are allowed as well at reduced 25% capacity. Death rates continues to be at 207, higher than 2 weeks ago when I presented. It was at 200. The same groups, same demographics, Hispanic, Latino, and high poverty areas. But overall, hospitalizations are dropping and deaths are dropping. The demographics have not changed. Young people are still getting the infection, but older people are dying from the infection. And same group, Latino, at 9,832 cases. 2 weeks ago when I presented, it was at 9,400 cases. So it's also increased despite the drop overall. Black, other, and then white and Asians are the distribution. And percent of deaths in the population, again, the graph shows Latinos leading and then white and Asians. Here on this table, Latinos make up 38% of the population, but 46% of the total deaths. You've seen this before. This is the most current graph on Sunday. The light blue is daily cases. As you can see, it's a steep drop. Daily deaths also drop substantially. This is the map of number of cases. The Antelope Valley is in the moderate range, medium blue, and then other medium blue areas, LA and east of the county. Light blues are along the coast and others, less populated areas. Going to our numbers in Antelope Valley, the adjusted case per 100,000 for LA County is 11,703. We are at 13,395 in the city of Lancaster. Our neighbors to the south, 15,000, so it's higher. The death rate of 207 for LA County. Our death rate's a bit more favorable at 188. Our neighbors in Palmdale, 244. It's higher than LA County and also Lancaster. So public health order remains the same. Go outdoors, stay masked, maintain 6 feet, avoid crowds, get vaccinated. We now have 3 vaccines. Johnson & Johnson has come online 2 weeks ago, and it's making a big difference in the vaccination rates. In the United States, about 1 in 4 people have received at least 1 dose, and about 13% fully vaccinated. And this is the map of who is doing well in vaccinations. California is in the mid-range, around 20 to 24%. Most of the vaccines was Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson just gone online, but it's picking up. On average, we're now at 2.2 million doses per day, twice the number promised by President Biden when he was elected initially in January. Yeah, 2.25 million average doses per day. This is the most recent chart. It's predicted that we will reach 70% by July, and we should have herd immunity throughout the country at that point. And at that point, I think the pandemic would be over, hopefully before July 4th. Something good to celebrate. Going to our county, going to their website, as of March 17, about 6 days ago, we've given out 3.2 million doses. We're now in phase 1B, and we've included all these categories: residents 65 and older, education and children, emergency services, food, agriculture, serious health conditions, those who live and work in congregate living, janitorial, custodial, and transportation logistics. And the details are at the when you click the website. This graph was on Sunday, 2 days ago, and it's very similar to the previous two graphs I presented. As you recall, this is our rates of infection. The Antelope Valley is here in the medium range. But in terms of vaccination, we are basically less than 14% vaccinated. Other areas similar to us, medium blue is lighter relatively. And the areas that are receiving the most vaccinations are along the coast, where the infection rates are low. So that mismatch remains. I know we've raised this issue here, and others have raised it elsewhere, and I know the mismatch is improving, and I'm happy for that. Going to the Kaiser Fairgrounds, it opened March 8th with Lancaster City and the Kaiser teaming up. And anyone is eligible, please make your appointment here. I just checked this afternoon at 2:30. There's a lot of appointments open. So far, we've given between 930 to 1,300 doses per day, about 1,000 doses. And we've given, since opening, about 10,232 doses. We have mostly Moderna, but again, whatever we get, we distribute and give to our patients, to the patients in Antelope Valley. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Larry, you got anything for us?
I'm confounded that there's open appointments and our percentage is that low. So I want to encourage people to go out and get vaccinated. If they're not going to get it done through the City of Lancaster Kaiser site, there's numerous sites around town to get it done now. We have no excuse anymore. We don't have to go down to Magic Mountain or Dodger Stadium. And as I said to others, don't be the last soldier killed in this war. This thing is not over yet. There's still very sick people coming in, and people are still dying of this thing. So I know it looks, when you see the pictures of Florida and people out on spring break, everyone out there having fun, they have the wrong idea. This thing's not over. It's still highly transmissible, and it could be lethal, or you could end up with disability. So please, go get yourself vaccinated when it's your turn. That's what I have to say.
I was confused about what you said, Dr. Trong. Are you saying that there are vaccines available that aren't being put in people's arms?
We have vaccines, and we have vaccine appointments. So people are not, signing up like they should. So we have vaccines. Get people to sign up.
Okay, I'm assuming that's because they have either given up trying to get appointments, or they're still uncomfortable with it. So we need to address that, Jason.
We keep pushing the story, and I think as time opens up, we found, and we had the conversation with the doctors and the team earlier, is that there's a sense that there's a certain percentage of uptake. The 50% of the population is only willing to take it, then you miss out on that 50%. So it's kind of, the goal is to keep broadening the people that qualify, and to keep that story going, but also marketing to people saying get out and get vaccinated. Dr. Stock is running a mask and ask this weekend and on the 27th through our food giveaway. So I think those are great opportunities to educate people. We continue to push out media on our social media and things of that nature. So we keep getting the message out there, and people need to heed that message. And so that's really good news. I mean, that's good news to get that message out, but people need to follow.
Okay. We have Anders from Supervisor Barger's office who has redeemed himself. We are doing a similar arrangement with High Desert Medical Group, and Anders is going to get them 4,000 doses next week, 10,000 after that, and we will put them in people's arms. The thing we all have to recognize is, like, Walmart may get so many vaccines, but Walmart is not adding any employees to put this in people's arms. And now I think we're transitioning into that place where the product is available, but the manpower may not be. And I think Lancaster's ahead of that curve. We will have people to put it in your arm who are medically trained, no matter what. If it's 10,000 doses a day, that's what it'll be. We will put those in people's arms. But the people in Lancaster and Palmdale have to help us with this. It's not for you you're getting that shot. It's so that you don't kill somebody you love, so that you don't kill a family member, because that's exactly what you will be doing if you have the opportunity to get the vaccine and you're too afraid to take it. Now, I understand why people could be afraid. It's not totally risk-free. It is going to make you sick for one day in all probability. Too bad. Toughen up. I mean, we're in a crisis, for heaven's sakes. I mean, this is about our families. And if you've tried to get an appointment 10 times and failed to get one, try 11 times. Call the city. We'll even come pick you up if we have to. We have got to get this city vaccinated. And we're working with Palmdale to do both cities, to do the entire Antelope Valley. But it is going to take some courage. I mean, that's what it's called, is courage. When you do something you may not want to do, that you're a little afraid to do, but you're doing it for your family, or your neighbors, and your community. And that's all. That's what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to make that sacrifice. Don't be one of those people that kill somebody needlessly. But let's not hesitate to call what it is. Yeah, Larry, what were you going to say?
I agree with everything you just said, Mayor. I would also add there's a sense of urgency here. It's not. It's about getting vaccinated, but it's also, we're in a race with the variants. So either we as a county, as a state and a country and the world is going to get vaccinated before these variants take over, or the variants are going to get there before we do, and we're going to have another surge. And I don't think this community wants that. I know we don't. And I know this state doesn't want it either, this country. So when it's your turn, step up and get vaccinated. And let's stop transmitting the virus between each other, and then the variants can't mutate. The variants can't. The virus can't mutate, and the variants can't be transmitted if there's no one who's not immune. So we want to get everyone immune as soon as possible.
There's one other issue that we should be aware of. If Anders gets us those vaccines and we don't have people to put them in their arms, I mean, we don't have people coming to get them, imagine how humiliated I'm going to be.
That would never happen, though. That would never happen, right?
After beating him up like this for a month now, and he comes through. Come on, folks. We're in this together. Let's be in it together. Maria, tell these folks to get their shot, would you?
Definitely. But like Dr. Stock and Dr. Trong had mentioned, the variants are very severe, transmissible, much more transmissible and more deadly. And, our hospitals we're overwhelmed this past year, and let's ensure that they don't get that way this year as well. Because there's just too many. It's very disheartening. It's just the fact that the family can't come in and visit, during these hard times, that's the worst part too. So we have to give that message out. You don't want your family in that situation at all. I don't want my family there. You definitely don't want yours. This is a severe virus.
Thank you. Okay, Council, do you have any questions?
I don't have a question, Mr. Mayor, but Mr. Hearns is raising his hand.
He's on mute.
Henry, you're on mute.
We do need to take public comment, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for, actually. Okay, Henry, you got to get your speaker on, but why don't we go ahead and ask for public comment now before we move on?
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on COVID-19 pandemic updates, please press *9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press *9 at this time if you wish to comment on COVID-19 pandemic updates.
Can you hear me now?
Before we call the first person, Anders, would you thank the supervisor for us, and thank you for your efforts. It is greatly appreciated.
Of course, and she wants to recognize all the work that your team has done and the effort that your city's put in. It far outcries every other effort that we've seen around it. Be a part of it.
Thank
Public Health appreciates it.
Is it the time for the question?
Yes, Henry.
Yes. What's the age limit?
Well, let me tell you about that. Let me tell you about that, Henry. It's 65 unless you have a comorbidity, like heart disease. I do not know anybody over 40 years old who doesn't have some heart disease.
Oh, I'm not. I've already had mine.
That's correct.
And nobody is going to ask for medical records.
Correct. We don't ask.
Nobody's going to question you about it. And you can honestly say you have heart disease because, trust me, you do. It's when plaque starts building in our arteries, that's what it's called. Nobody will be turned away if they remotely fit the criteria. Or you can even be homeless and get it. Now, if that means you moved out of your house for an hour, that's homeless to me. So go get your shot.
I've got mine. Both of them, and that's been 4 weeks ago.
I don't want anybody to break the rules, but your mayor is a lawyer, and we know how to get right up to the edge.
There you go.
Okay, thanks. Is that all you needed, Henry?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Dave Bowman, you can unmute yourself at this time.
Thank you. I thank the mayor and the city council for allowing me to be heard. I don't know if the elected officials here have gone ahead and heard of an organization by the name of Salva, but in recent days, they were able to distribute over 1,000 vaccinations. I mean, literally within a couple of days. And perhaps it would benefit a couple of you folks to get in touch with some of the Salva people in an effort to go ahead and have more vaccine distributed amongst the most highly affected group of individuals, throughout the country, the Hispanic population. They have a huge network, and I would advise you folks, if you want to go ahead and get those folks vaccinated, you should probably go ahead and hit up the Salva people. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor, note on that, there's a number of different agencies, and we met with Anders today at the county giving out vaccines. And there's, the JWCH, Bart's Altadena, Clinica, Romero, Shared Harvest. So there's a lot of those agencies out there. So if you find these other resources, go get them. It's not just Kaiser. It's not just going to be the High Desert and county site and city site. Go to find these resources that are available. CVS is doing it. Just get that, as Dave mentioned, just find those resources and go get them.
And can I say something, Jason?
I think we're finally at a place where if you want that vaccine, you can get it. Now, for the people who don't want the vaccine, we're opening counseling sessions.
We have a website that has a list of all of this on the city website that's being updated daily. Jason, at all, or is there a way that we can condense all of them to make it easier for people?
There's a lot of different resources out there. We try to, if you call City Hall, we'll find those resources for you. We do have on our website a COVID site, or I don't know, page, and there's a significant list of opportunities there to get vaccinated.
Okay.
And do we have it in Spanish, Jason?
I don't know that question. I mean, if we don't, we can get it there.
Let's make sure let's look into that and make sure we arrange for that. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Certainly appreciate all you're doing to make it happen too. That is just great.
Yeah.
We're doing it at our church this coming Saturday as well.
Good. Anyone else?
No other speakers at this time.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Wait a minute. I got some people here. Might as well get everybody. Do you see that, Andrea?
Yes, caller with the last 4 digits, 7232. Please press *6 to unmute yourself and state your name.
Good afternoon, Mayor Paris and staff and Vice Mayor and the City Council. This is Frances Arasaris, and I want to say I've got my 2 shots, thank God, about a month ago. But I want to thank you and the city and everyone, the doctors that are working so hard to get this. And Mayor and your staff have worked extremely hard with our supervisor and Donna Tremere to get this done. And I tell everybody that I know to go get their shots. But I wanted to also ask, are we going to be able to get a mobile unit that's going to be able to go into some of these apartment buildings where some of these seniors are not mobile and cannot go out and get their shots? Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. I love the city and I love what you do for us. Thank you.
Thank you. You want to take that question?
You want me to repeat the question?
No, we got the question. I just want to know if Anders can answer.
Yeah, part of our call today was the city will be on weekly calls with public health to identify and target mobile site vaccination. So could we get exactly the apartment complex or a phone number for her so we can give her a call and find out exactly which complex she's referencing so that we can make sure we get somebody out there? I don't know how to figure out what her phone number was, though. Forgive me.
Yeah, we'll get it to you.
Perfect. Yeah, we can make that happen. Jason, we'll coordinate.
Thank you, Anders. Anyone else?
No other speakers.
Okay, now for the motion.
I'll move ED1 for approval, ED2 for approval, adopting resolution 21-13.
I second that.
Let's call the roll.
City Council Member, Agency Director, Authority Member Doris.
Yes.
Molly.
Yes.
Mann.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chris.
Yes.
Mayor Paris.
Yes. Passes unanimously. Maria, the nurses, how are they doing? Are they coming back? Are they getting a break?
Oh, yes, we have a break, but somehow the census is coming back up. But, I think right now things are looking okay. Excuse me. Things are looking okay. So let's hope it continues.
Good. Thank you. Well, that's going to be up to the people who live here if they want to get the shot. Nobody wants to get the shot. Just go get the shot. What do you got, Dr. Tron?
You know, we have a substantial reduction in COVID infections, but we are seeing a lot of moderately ill patients defer their care during the crisis. So now they're coming in with renal failure that needs dialysis right away. They're getting strokes in the emergency room. They had a foot infection. They should have taken care of it. Now it's gangrene and it needs amputation. So our hospitals are still very busy. Our services are very busy trying to undo the COVID, the deferred care. Again, looking at Europe, they're going through their surge. And they were warned 2 months ago to get their vaccines going. But Europe didn't have the same vaccine capacity infrastructure as we do. So we, like Dr. Stock says, we need to stay ahead, get vaccinated so that we don't succumb to the variant and fail again. As I mentioned before, just a month ago, I couldn't have a conversation with my colleagues in the hospital because cold blue is being called every 3 times an hour. You just can't talk. And talking to people in the cafeteria, our physician friends, one doctor basically signed 6 death certificates in one day. You sign 1 death certificate in 6 days, not the other way around. So we're only a month out from that. So it's very fresh in our memories. Just want to emphasize the push really to get the vaccine so that we don't get in trouble again.
Yeah, and I think I want to add something else, and maybe Dr. Trong and Dr. Stock can add to that, but our men in our community. I think I'm seeing a lot of men that are, there are other issues like of depression, alcohol abuse, and quite honestly, you're seeing a lot of liver issues as well, kidney, like you said, Dr. Trong, but I'm seeing that most of our men, resources, I don't think that they're adequate out there as well for them. There are hotlines, but as we know, for a lot of the male in our population, even getting a physical, is hard and on an annual basis. But when you're having an issue like depression or even suicidal ideations, where do you go? How do we target this? And then at one point, we're seeing that it's affecting their health tremendously. So that's one thing that I'm seeing so far a lot of as well lately. So I don't know if you guys would agree to that, Dr. Trong or Dr. Stock.
Yeah, we've definitely, and it's been a national phenomenon during the pandemic. There's been an uptick in alcohol use, domestic violence, and overdoses and suicide attempts. Use of fentanyl, whether it's on purpose or by accident, because it's cut in some of the other drugs that people buy on the street. So if you are suffering from depression, if you're suffering from other problems, come in and get help before you do something drastic. The other thing I would say is a lot of people are scared to come into the hospital if you're thinking they may catch COVID, I suppose, but if you're having an emergency, come to the emergency room. It doesn't work well when you have your heart attack, your stroke at home, or rupture your appendix at home. We can help you if you come in early, and you can do well.
Is there an uptick in fentanyl overdoses? Because I've been noticing in the paper there's a lot of fentanyl situations. Is that a new phenomenon since COVID?
Yes.
Okay. Has it been high up here in Antelope Valley?
I don't have exact numbers, but my guess is all over LA County, it's been an issue. So that is a big problem, and it causes death because the fentanyl is people may not get to an antidote, and they may stop breathing outside a hospital.
The periods of my life where I've suffered from severe depression, and there have been those times. And when it was just too difficult to get out of bed at times, and my wife would keep telling me, it's going to pass. It's just chemical. It's just chemical. It's going to pass. And thankfully, she told me that, and we tried different medications until it did pass, and then I didn't have to take the medication anymore. And the reason I'm sharing that with you is there are a lot of people that are suffering that misery, and there's no other way to describe it. It is utter misery, and we can treat it now. They can. You don't have to be in that pain. And you certainly owe it to you and your family to give the medication a try before you do something stupid. And that's not fair, because I think when people take their own life, it's not stupid at all. It's all they have left at that point. It doesn't need to get there. And we as a city will do whatever's necessary to make sure that everybody has treatment available until we rebound from this, what we've been through. And it has been a crisis that has affected all of us. I mean, what's the worst punishment you do to somebody in prison? You put them in a solitary confinement. How many people have been in solitary confinement for a really long time now? We're here to help. And we can help. And, there's a lot of people in economic crisis right now, but I can promise you what is coming to us as a city, no one will need to be without a job. And I mean a mortgage paying job. There is an incredibly bright future for us economically waiting for us. And I know it's coming. It's not that it might come, it is coming. Have I said all I need to say? Larry, did I get the message out?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, good. Thank you. And, if that means I'm a sissy, I guess that's what it means. But, we went to the doctor. I didn't like being miserable. I don't think anybody does. Okay. Let's move on. Thank you, you guys. I mean, Larry kept telling me this day was coming where it would pass. It hasn't quite passed, but it is passing. And there were days I wasn't quite sure that was the case. We're coming into good times. There'll be a lot of celebrations. If you go get your vaccination, that's all you got to do now. We did our part. You do your part. Thanks.
I think we're on JPH1, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Oh, even Marvin got a vaccination, and he's the most conservative Republican I've ever met. But even he got a vaccination. Isn't that true, Marvin?
That is true on both accounts.
Okay. We voted, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Moving on to
JPH1.
Yeah, that one. Who's presenting that?
We need to open the public hearing, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, let's open the public hearing.
Thank you, sir.
We should get a door opening sound,
Good evening, Mayor Paris and members of the City Council and Vice Chair Christ and members of the Housing Authority. Thank you for taking the time to hear our disposition and development agreement for HNR1. This is a project that the housing team has been working on for several months, and they're excited to present to you this new development. This will be located on the corner of Sierra Highway and Avenue I in North Downtown, just north of American Heroes Park. With that, I'll turn it over to Chris Ani, our housing manager, to share more information.
Thank you, Shannon. Before you tonight is a request to approve a DDA with Bridge Housing Corporation for 114 housing units, of which 113 will be income targeted and will be located at the southwest corner of Avenue I and Sierra Highway. And as the site plan on your screen shows, the proposed layout of the project includes a paseo that will provide a connected meandering pathway through the development. Some of the amenities include a community room, tot lot and children's playground, barbecue and eating area, and shade structures. Next slide. The next slide is a rendering of the buildings in a typical street scene looking toward the project from Gilly Way and again from Avenue I. The quality design is contemporary with varying materials and colors to create visual interest. And I'll turn it over to Shannon. Oh, sorry, one more slide. This is actually an example of some of the projects, the developments that Bridge has developed. They have created over 18,000 homes across the West Coast, and they really are truly masters in this space.
As part of this development, our housing staff spent a great deal of time looking at what the right area median income level would be to suit our local needs. So they've worked with the developer and come up with the following proposed housing mix. The units will range from 1 to 3 bedrooms, and based on household size, those incomes will range anywhere from $27,000 on up to $78,000. And we're excited that this is in line with a great deal of our workforce within the city of Lancaster. As kind of a rule of thumb, the average median or the area median income for Lancaster itself is actually $55,000. So this is very much middle income for the city of Lancaster.
And in terms of the project costs, the total project costs are estimated to be $57 million. The city's housing resources will make up approximately 13% of the cost at $7,193,800. The developer will rely on other sources for the remaining 87% of the cost. And in terms of the breakdown of Housing Authority funds, 18% will come from the newly awarded Permanent Local Housing Allocation Grant from the state at $1,320,000. 25% will come from the appraised land value at $1.8 million, and 57% or $4,073,600 will come from the low mod housing asset fund. And all funding is from dedicated affordable housing sources, and there will be no impact to the general fund. And as part of the Advanced Energy Communities and partnership with Z&E Alliance that included a $5 million grant from the California Energy Commission, and with the support and contribution of Bridge Housing to see this through. This development will include a nanogrid. Homes will be all electric and include electrical vehicle charging, solar, and battery storage. And the growth of solar and battery storage are increasingly being paired into one system. And the nanogrid is a system that benefits from this pairing. The nanogrid adds technology which will enable this development to separate itself like an island from the main power grid. Electricity will continue to flow to these homes, even as others around them are left in the dark.
And we would be remiss not to recognize Patty Garibay and her efforts on this nanogrid project. She's been leading the Advanced Energy Community Grant Team and collaborating hand in hand with Chris as they work to integrate this with the affordable housing development. So thanks to Patty on that work. We're very excited about this as it's a first of its kind development. This will be the first income targeted housing development with this type of technology in California, and we believe it will actually be the first in the nation. In addition, this will isolate us from the public safety power shutoffs that the IOUs have been perpetrating and will help increase our resiliency and independence from SCE and their grid. And finally, we have the project schedule. Obviously, the DDA is up for approval tonight in March, and we will continue with applications for the ASIC grant through the state, as well as tax credit awards, with the anticipation of closing project financing in June of 2022. Construction would start immediately thereafter in July of 22, with initial move-ins a year later, and full lease out and full move-ins a year and a half after that. With that, we would open it up for any questions.
Any questions from the council? So we're providing all these grants for this. Do we own any of this project when it's built?
No, this will actually be owned by Bridge Housing.
Okay, explain that to me. Why don't we have a piece of the action?
The city's has restrictions on owning rental housing. From a state perspective, it takes a vote of the public to own rental housing.
So why don't we have a vote?
You can put it on the ballot as a ballot measure, and then that is an option. It is legislation that has been attempted to be modified and changed, but I think there's a state lobby at probably the builders lobby who keeps cities from building and competing in the construction market.
Well, how many millions of dollars of public dollars is going into this project?
7+.
And what's the total value of the project once it's built?
57 million.
So there's no way you can figure out for us to get our percentage. Is that what you're telling me?
In short, Mr. Mayor, that's correct.
Work on it.
I will keep working on a way to do that, Mr. Mayor, but at present, under the state of law, it is not a possibility.
All right, work on it harder. Thanks. All right, public comment?
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on the joint public hearing item, please press *9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press *9 at this time. No speakers.
Okay, hearing none, is there a motion?
No, you need to close the public hearing.
Public hearing, please.
I just did. Close the public hearing. Now, is there a motion?
Motion to approve JPH 1.
I'll second that motion. Adopting the resolution 21-14 as representing the city council, because we've got 2 entities there.
Okay.
And authorizing the city manager or designee to execute the related documents. So the first motion is for the city council for items 1 and 2 as noted on the agenda. Then we will need the housing authority to take action.
As so stated by Allison, I'd second that motion based on Marvin's motion to approve.
Okay, Andrea, would you call the roll, please?
City Council Member, Agency Director, Authority Member Doris.
Yes.
Molly.
Yes.
Mann.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Christ.
Yes.
Mayor Paris.
Yes. Passes unanimously.
And now it would be appropriate to have the housing authority to vote on items 1 and 2 on their portion of the agenda.
The chair will entertain a motion to adopt resolution HA 1-21.
So I'll make the motion to adopt resolution HA-121 and authorize the city manager or his designee to execute all related documents.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Housing Authority Members Harvey.
Yes.
Molly.
Yes.
Mann.
Yes.
Vice Chair Chris.
Yes.
Passes unanimously.
Okay, passes unanimously. What's up next? I got lost.
The council actions for the minutes.
Boy, we're just all over the place today, aren't we? All right, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Call the vote.
Roll call. We need to do public comment.
Yes.
Really? Really? First of all, I guess we do. Okay. So anybody want to comment on the minutes? Good. I was worried about you folks out there for a minute. Let's vote.
City Council Member Doris,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Mann,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chris,
Yes.
Mayor Paris.
Yes. Okay. Passes unanimously.
I believe we are now on CCEA CC1.
We need to do ED2. I don't think that was done on the first.
It was.
It was.
Okay.
ED2 was moved with
Yes.
the ED item.
Yep.
Okay, so we're at the California Choice Energy consent calendar. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. Is there anything needing to be removed?
No.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve CCEA CC1.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Any public comment?
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on CCEA CC1, please press star 9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please eliminate background noise, and you are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press star 9 at this time if you wish to comment on CCEA CC1. Dave Bowman, you may unmute yourself at this time.
Thank you very much. I'm just a simple person, but I'm sure that there are a lot of other simple persons that are out there. You don't suppose that in the future we could go ahead and refer to these not just by their, I guess, what would you call their numeric references, and maybe give a name to some of these things so that we know what it is and understand what we're talking about, please?
I understand your frustration. Normally what occurs at the city council meeting is everybody has the agenda, or at least has it available to them so that it's all there in front of them. What are we doing in regards to the virtual meeting, Jason?
We have it posted online, so they can go to our website and see it digitally. We do have the opportunity for them to come pick it up at City Hall if they wish, if they don't have a printer or some other mechanism to see that. But all those items have and I think we've done even a more thorough job of explaining the items on that agenda. You'll notice that there's more detail as it relates to the narrative of those. And you've seen that in the agenda, I believe. We haven't announced it, but it's been noticeable.
And Mr. Bowman, the purpose of the consent calendar in particular is it's usually routine items, or it's items we don't expect anybody to have much interest in. And if they do, they ask us to take it off the consent calendar so that we can have the public discussion. But that does require you to come on early and get the agenda that would have the consent calendar on it. Not the best of methodologies, but it's only 2 more months before we're back into doing public meetings. We just have to live with it for a while. Because I don't know, it would take all night to go through the consent calendar telling everybody which each item is.
Yeah. Mayor Paris, normally if we were in chambers, there would have been a paper copy in the back. And obviously if it's available online to support the virtual, isn't that one and the same? Correct me if I'm...
Yeah, there's one online if that's available to you.
Yeah.
Okay. We're now at the consent calendar, is that right?
We need to vote on CCEA CC1, as I recall.
Oh, okay. So let's vote.
City Council Member, Agency Director, Authority Members Doris.
Yes.
Molly.
Yes.
Mann.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chris.
Yes.
Mayor Paris.
Yes. Passes unanimously.
Mayor, real quick, I'd be remiss to announce too that the entire agenda is posted, all the staff reports, backup documentation is also posted online, not just the agenda. So you can read every staff report and backup documentation.
And if anybody wants to do that, we have counseling available. Okay, moving on to the consent calendar. Anything to be removed?
No.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Motion to approve the consent calendar as currently comprised.
Is there a second?
I second.
I'll second that.
Let's call the roll.
We need to take public comment on the consent calendar before we call the roll.
Oh, that's right.
At this time, anyone wishing to come in on any item on the consent calendar, please press *9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press *9 at this time if you wish to comment on any item on the consent calendar.
Let's call the roll, please.
City Council Member, Agency Director, Authority Members Doris,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Mann,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chris,
Yes.
Mayor Paris.
Yes. Passes unanimously. Moving on to public hearing item number 1. Larissa De La Cruz will be doing the staff report.
You need to open the public hearing?
Oh, that's right.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Don't say a word, Larissa, until I open the door. It is open. Okay. Now you can speak.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Paris and members of the City Council. The item before you this evening is for the introduction of an ordinance to adopt speed limits on 96 street segments in the city of Lancaster, as determined by the 2020 spot survey analysis, as well as an engineering and traffic survey report conducted by our consultants with LSY, which is what is required by law to make these modifications. This item is part of an ongoing effort to evaluate speeds and their impact as part of the city's vision to have a safer community. Furthermore, this effort is in line with our Safer Streets Action Plan that was recently adopted by the City Council and our continued efforts as part of Safe Routes to School. Last year, speed surveys on 32 road segments were updated, and the remaining speed limit segments, approximately 130 of them, will continue to be surveyed in the following year. Based on the engineering and traffic report this go around, it is recommended that the speeds be decreased for 9 roadway segments, increased for 1, and reestablish the current speed limits for 86 of the roadway segments. Staff recommends that the City Council take action as listed in your staff report, and I am available, as well as our consultants, if the council has any other questions on this matter. Thank you.
Can we add an addendum to this that it's illegal to use your dash cam to film the mayor when he makes an illegal passing movement? No, can't.
No,
okay.
We cannot do that.
Thought I would ask. After seeing that on social media, I didn't quite know what to do. Okay. Any public comment?
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on public hearing item number 1, please press *9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press *9 at this time if you wish to comment on public hearing item number 1.
Hearing none, does the council have any questions? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Can we close the public hearing, please?
Oh, closed. I'm surprised we don't have to vote on that. Let's close the public hearing. And now is there a motion?
I'd like to introduce ordinance number 1081.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Can you call the roll, please?
City Council Member, Agency Director, Authority Members Doris,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Mann,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chris,
Yes.
Mayor Paris.
No, I can't bear going any slower. But
Fancy cars.
ooh. I have a small foreign car. What are you talking about? Passes 4-1.
With the mayor voting no.
Thank you. All right. Now, this is the exciting one. This is new business item 1. This is so imbued with potential that I could almost burst with it. Who's doing the present? Oh, well, the hearing on the resolution of custody is open. And let's go forward.
Actually, your script is slightly off. NB1 is for Sci-Fi Networks, and the resolution and necessity hearing is CNB1, which will be our next item. So that will be our next item. So right now, we're going to hear the staff report on NB1, I think from Jason Cottle and Jeff Hogan.
I've been sabotaged. Okay.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mayor. Everybody can see my PowerPoint and hear me?
Yep.
Great. So as you know, and I think this pandemic has taught us that internet connectivity and access to the World Wide Web is a necessary public infrastructure. I think over time, we've seen this as a private function where we've given up those resources to people like AT&T, Spectrum, Frontier, those typical public utilities. We have an opportunity tonight to enter into a license agreement with a company called Sci-Fi. And they will be putting in a new and dynamic system that allows for competition in the marketplace and looks at our infrastructure in a different way. So what happens is this is a project we did before as it relates to fiber optic cables in our traffic signals. So for those of you who don't know, there is fiber optic connectivity between our signals that allows the cameras to operate and the central function of our system. The Sci-Fi network is a in-ground fiber network that will be connecting every household and every business to the opportunity for fiber. And there's a couple things that benefits from that. One is that there's obviously higher speed, there's increased connectivity, and there's competition in the marketplace. There's a short video for Sci-Fi.
Sci-Fi Networks funds, builds, and operates fiber optic networks on which service providers can deliver internet, video, phone, and next-generation services, creating Sci-Fi Networks fiber cities throughout the USA and Europe. What does fiber mean to your city?
All right.
Hopefully it means faster downstreaming of our videos.
Yes, it will definitely mean that. So currently there are more than 80% of occupied parcels that do not have access to fiber networks, and that's citywide. This system will allow us complete and absolute connectivity for every parcel and every business in Lancaster. As you'll notice, which is kind of fun, the expectation of fast internet. People expect fast. And if you remember those, some of us remember the America Online and the dialing up. I think when we put this together, it was kind of fun to reminisce about those times. But the reality is the world has changed. We need high-speed internet to educate our children. We need high-speed internet to communicate with our doctors. We need high-speed internet no differently than we need water, sewer, roads. Fiber, if you look at it on the spectrum, when we talk about 5G as the next generation, 5G runs on top of fiber. So fiber is anticipated to be faster than 5G because it's going to be directly connected to your homes. That means full speed internet as it relates to downloading movies and all the things that we've come to expect. And you can see the difference of where we've gone to where we're coming, right? We remember these screens and we see fiber now that travels at the speed of light. Sci-Fi is going to be investing $170 million into the city. They're going to be doing this from a construction process that's called micro trenching. So we hopefully have limited impact on the traveling public. But what it is just outside the curb or the gutter line on the curb and gutter, they'll be digging a 2-inch trench and laying this cable within that trench. That then allows each resident who wants to participate to connect to that fiber network and take it directly to their home. The best part about this project is that it opens up competition in the marketplace. which allows other vendors to be providing internet service. It's not, you don't have to buy your internet from Sci-Fi. There'll be multiple carriers running over the same line. From a city perspective, there's obviously a number of things we talked about with this council and in the community. Obviously, this jumpstarts our smart city initiative. Being a smart city means connectivity is key. That means we need Wi-Fi access, we need camera access, we need access throughout the community, whether it be from our sheriff vehicles, fire response, to our public works and outreach that way. So that to have this smart city network, we need fiber. It gives us the opportunity to put cameras and connected cameras that we've talked about. It expands the marketplace. As I mentioned, there's competition in the marketplace that allows us to select different vendors. We anticipate bringing forward to you, the city council, an opportunity where the city actually may become the internet service provider, and internet service provider as part of that competition, so that we can look at this public utility as the necessary function and assure access and affordability from a city perspective. And of course, you know, we all start thinking about what a fiber city means. And what's kind of interesting is Sci-Fi actually trademarked fiber city. The networks are designed to aid the implementation of smart city applications, 4G, 5G, small cells. Cellular companies will be running upon this system, private networks, and other enterprise grade services, while enabling residents and businesses more choice in the internet services. So with that, the agreement you're approving tonight is a license agreement. It does not give exclusive access. It does give a license agreement to our road right-of-way, and there'll be a follow-up smart cities agreement that identifies our connection points to that and how we access this service. So with that, I'll be happy to take any questions and any comments, and then recommend your approval of the franchise agreement.
So do they pay us a percentage?
They do. There's not a franchise fee associated with it. They give us free access to the system. So the opportunity is they're investing their capital in their free, and then we get access to sell our product on top of that asset, as well as deliver camera and the Wi-Fi system.
How come no percentage?
Well, the goal is to get our revenue off of the services we provide for free on the system.
Well, can we block other people from competing?
It is an open access system, and that's where they make their money.
We don't want it to compete.
Not with us.
No, we want to be able to make sure that the Time Warner, the Spectrums, everybody else out there has the same opportunity.
Why?
We just do.
There are pricing benefits, and the reality is they would not put fiber throughout our city if we were to take a cut off the top.
Did we ask?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, just so long as you ask.
Yeah.
So Jason,
this is drill, sir. Yeah.
So Jason, this is not much more different than what we've done with California Power Authority, though. Essentially, right?
Yeah. In essence, there's a services that we have traditionally not been a municipal service that we now have the opportunity to create a municipal service. And
right.
This is one of those opportunities. And Sci-Fi is investing their $170 million to allow us to do that.
Not an insignificant amount. Okay. Any questions? Is there, well, let's get public comment first.
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on NB1, please press *9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press *9 at this time if you wish to comment on NB1. Ron Kagan, you may unmute yourself and you may begin.
Hi, my question is for Jason. During the presentation, one of the pages, you had cameras and you talked about cameras for safety. Is this the same company that was going to be putting cameras on top of all of the light poles in Lancaster? Or has that been done? already? Is that something that is still being considered? And basically, that's it. Has it been done? If not, is it still being considered? And is this company going to be doing that? And thank you. That's my question.
No, I'll answer it. It's not the same company, and it has not been done. We are still looking at the different options and being able to do that. We're trying to figure out how to do it so that it's the least intrusive, but at the same time gives the public a level of safety that they currently are not experiencing. Does that pretty well summarize where we're at, Jason?
Yeah, it does provide the opportunity as it relates to a Wi-Fi network, but this contractor does not provide that service. They are merely providing the backbone fiber.
So my understanding is that if the city decides to go forward, the city would be taking care of any cost involved in cameras, or would this be something that the company has agreed to do if the city decides to go forward with this project?
No, they would not be doing that. That's not a service they provide. But it gives us the ability to provide that service if we want to. Is there any limitation to us hooking up into it, Jason?
No.
I mean, we're not limited in bandwidth at all?
No.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you.
Or numbers of connections as well.
I'm sorry, what?
Or numbers of connections.
It really is unlimited, isn't it?
The amount of fiber that's going to be going in the ground is going to be changed. I mean, it's going to be life-changing.
Good, good. You know, at some point, once construction starts, we ought to put a group together to figure out ways to use this that are innovative and adds to the well-being of the neighborhoods and the people who live there. You know, this technology is, we think we understand it, but I don't think we do. I mean, the scope of it is so phenomenal that I think we should probably start putting that group together. And especially, you know, we've been working incredibly well with the aerospace industry during COVID. We had to talk to them about it too. All right. Okay, we got somebody else?
Caller with the last four digits, 7232. Please press *6 to unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. This is Fran Sarasaris. My question, can you hear me?
We can.
Oh, okay, because you're too quiet over there. I couldn't even hear you breathe. Okay. My question, first of all, is what's going to let me think a minute here. First of all, is there going to be a cost to the property owners for this service? And that's one. And the second question is, are we going to have protection for our privacy in our homes? Is that going to be a problem, or am I being over crazy here? Thank you very much.
Well, you know, there's no way for us to answer that because we don't know what kind of systems we'll be putting in place. You know, personally, I kind of think that, you know, there isn't a phone call I make that somebody's not listening to. I wish that weren't true, but I don't think we're going to add to the invasion of privacy at all. Whatever is there is there. Is there somebody else?
Dave Bowman, you may unmute yourself at this time.
Thank you. You know, I kind of get an understanding of what the mayor's talking about. Is there any way that the city can go ahead and invest into this and become partners, or find some way to maybe even purchase it long term and just have the company go ahead and do the maintenance on the system? This is like a 30-year thing, man. 40 years, maybe even to the next century.
That's a good question, Jason.
Yeah, I think if we had $170 million and the access and technology that they have, we would be recommending to do this. I think it is a great business model. I think it's a great future. Unfortunately, $170 million is a little out of our reach, and I think they have some technical expertise that is beyond our capabilities. I think, as Mr. Bowman mentions, there is opportunity for us in this. not only is a long-term revenue opportunity, but also a level of service to our customers that is guaranteed, that is affordable, and that lasts a long time, and that they know that they have an investment locally. Just like the other, the housing project, if we had $57 million and we had the legal authority to build housing, we'd probably be building housing too. So these private-public partnerships are just necessary as relates to the sheer capital that's involved, and the risk that's involved is with that as well. I mean, you got to remember, if we were to put in $170 million of city resources, we're also at risk for $170 million of city resources. So as much as we think that's a great plan and an idea, if something fails, it's their failure, not ours. But we do have the opportunity to build on that risk that they're taking.
I understand the response, but it would seem like to me, isn't there a possibility of being able to go ahead and pass a bond issue? I mean, if we were going to go ahead and spend $750 million on a hospital, surely $187 million could be passed through some type of a voter initiative.
I don't know how you can compare the two, but certainly it's a methodology, I guess. The problem is how many years would it cause and delay? I want this thing up and running. I want us to be the most technologically advanced city out there. And once we reach that goal, the amount of technological or technology industries that rely on it that are going to come in, I think is going to surprise everyone. But, we have to have that infrastructure, and I don't want to delay it in any way. Although I'm a big proponent in us owning a piece of whatever we do. We're certainly going to own a piece of the hydrogen that's coming in. So is there someone else?
Caller with the last four digits, 6605. Please press *6 to unmute yourself and state your name. Caller with the last four digits, 6605. I think you've already unmuted yourself. You may begin. I'm not sure what's going on there, but there are no other speakers after that.
Okay, thank you. They're back. The music is in the space between the noise, but there has to be noise. You want to let him unmute himself again?
Caller with the last four digits, 6640. Okay. Please press *6. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
I think there were two people talking. Caller with the last four, 6605. Go ahead.
Okay, yes, this is Tony Walker, and my concern is with the new project going up. What about, is there going to be extra traffic considering the residents that already live in the neighborhood? More traffic and...
I'm not clear on the question.
Is that going to bring in more traffic as when the new project comes up?
Well, this one won't. I mean, this one will actually, I see there'd be less traffic once they start utilizing it because it's going to interface with the robotic cars. But there's going to be some traffic congestion as they dig the holes to put it in. That's going to be disruptive. I mean, there isn't any question about that. If you're referring to new projects coming in, yes, they bring traffic, and we plan for it. We try to work around it, but they do bring traffic. Does that answer your question? Okay, let's move on. Anyway, Jason, this is a great deal. It really is. I may not sound like it with the questions, but I'm very grateful for the staff that's able to put this stuff together. This is really a huge leap forward. Thank you.
Motion to approve NB1.
We look like we have one more speaker. 6640's hand went back up.
Okay.
I think that's the one that was having the issues. Caller with the last 46640, please press *6 to unmute yourself and state your name.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Louis Burns. I'm calling in because I'm pretty much concerned about possible health effects of all this technology that we're adding to our environments. I called actually in November in regards to the same issue. And I just see that there's a lot of science and a lot of people who are recognizing that they might be sensitive to the new electronic devices that we have and the modes of transmission involving like radiation that's involved with it. And so I'm wondering, is this something that is being considered by everyone who wants to implement all of these technology, into our environment? Is that something that's been researched? And also, I myself have called the Department of Public Health, and I spoke to a couple of employees, and they have a radiation unit. I don't know if most people are familiar with that. But they said they do get calls about people who are concerned about this issue, but for some reason, they cannot investigate non-ionizing radiation, which I think would be the type of radiation involved in this kind of technology. So that would be one thing that I'm very concerned about too, is why is it that no one can investigate that? They're able to investigate ionizing radiation, which is stuff like X-rays and the more harmful types of radiation, but they can't investigate things like cell phone towers and possibly this kind of technology that you guys are wanting to implement. So how can we, I'm just interested in knowing how can we make sure that this stuff is safe for everyone, being that so many more people are complaining about it. There's a Facebook group of about 5,000 people. We're all kind of like frustrated because we can't get any answers. The FCC doesn't reply. I called and emailed them about a year ago. No response. And that's the same response that pretty much all of us get from the FCC is nothing. So we have no protection, no one investigating it, but yet everyone wants to, push this stuff on us, which I understand because it's very convenient. But if it is causing detrimental health effects at the same time, I don't know if I would want that stuff around me, So if anyone can speak to that, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
In regards to the fiber optic cable that's before the council in this motion, there is no health issues. I mean, it's an enclosed wire, just light. There is an issue about what you hook up to it. There are people that are concerned about 5G, but I haven't seen any peer-reviewed science that causes me any concern at this point. That doesn't mean we're not going to see that in the future. We just don't see it now, and it wouldn't apply to fiber optic cable anyway. I hope that answers your question. Thank you. And the point of it is you're not wrong in that there's a possibility that all of this stuff could have a detrimental impact. But so far, there hasn't been any peer-reviewed science saying so. And that's what we look to. But, I mean, I get it, especially in today's environment. There's a concern 40% of some political groups are not going to take the vaccine. I mean, it defies reason, but that is the case. I can assure you that we're not going to do anything that there is a reasonable cause to believe is going to harm anybody in the city. That's just how we operate. I'm far more concerned about the natural gas lines that leak underneath your houses than I am about the fiber optic cable. Okay, is there any other public comment?
I think Ron Kagan wanted to speak.
I saw that, but we only
He already spoke on this item.
We only get 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah, he did. Sorry about that.
And one speaker. Okay, is there a motion? Do I have to close anything?
Not for this one.
Oh, wow, that's great.
I did make the motion about approving NB1.
Okay, was it seconded? If it was, second it again. Daryl, you second this one, would you?
Second the motion.
Thank you. Let's vote.
City Council Member, Agency Director, Authority Members Doris,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Mann,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chris,
Yes.
Mayor Paris.
Yes. Passes unanimously. See, the reason I voted for this one is because it's the speed of light. That's really fast. Okay. Moving on to, is it new business one? Or
Continued business one.
Continued business. Resolution directing condemnation of real property for a freeway on-ramp located at southeast corner of 22nd Street and Avenue J, declaring the public necessity therefore. The hearing on the resolution of necessity is open. We will hear the staff report from Allison Burns, City Attorney.
Thank you. Let me screen share quickly. My apologies. Trying to screen share and it's not letting me, so hang on.
You see why we need fiber optic cable?
Before you for consideration tonight is a resolution of necessity to acquire two properties known as parcel numbers 3124012008 and 3124012009 at the southeast corner of 22nd Street West and Avenue J. They are to provide for a freeway on-ramp for the city's Measure R project, and in particular to resolve the ongoing on-ramp and off-ramp situation at West Avenue J and Avenue J8. The property in question is shown in the outline in red here on your screen. These are the two parcels, and this is for the new southbound on-ramp that would be proposed for this project. In considering this, it's important that the council know that the city obtained a third-party appraisal of the two parcels of property identified here in red, and made an offer of compensation to the property owner at the appraised value of $200,000. That was rejected by the property owner, and therefore we're coming to you in order to obtain your authorization and consideration of three findings as part of this resolution. First, whether the public interest and necessity require this project. In this case, a traffic study was conducted in 2017 by Fair and Peers to address the interchange of State Route 14 and State Route 138 and Avenue J, which is made up of two partial interchanges, as I just showed you. This creates incremental congestion on the street network and intersections and the diversion of trips to the Avenue K interchange. The partial interchange also creates driver confusion and challenges to wayfinding. The proposed on-ramp project would reduce congestion on the local street network and improve wayfinding and improve the safety of the interchange and local streets. So that is the issue with regard to the need for the project. And then the next issue for you to consider is whether the project is planned and located in the manner most compatible with the greatest public good and the least private injury. At the time of the traffic study in 2017, the California Department of Transportation considered 4 different alternatives for addressing this particular interchange. And the preferred alternative, which has the least impact on private interests because it affects only vacant land, was the one selected and the one before you tonight. So this is the least private injury option that was available to address the issue with this interchange. And then the final issue for you to consider is whether the property sought to be acquired is necessary for the project. And each of the alternatives for addressing this on-ramp issue required this property to be acquired in order to construct the project. The other alternatives would have required larger takings and the taking of occupied land. The area required for this on-ramp project would be entirely contained within this vacant property. On the CEQA front, an initial study and mitigated negative declaration was adopted for this project in September of 2019. Staff will, of course, continue to seek to negotiate with the property owner for a negotiated acquisition of the property, but at this time, we do need to ask you to consider adoption of the resolution of necessity. A resolution of necessity requires a 4/5 vote in order to pass. I am happy to answer any questions.
What was why did the owner reject the appraised value for it? What was their issue with it?
The owner's initial response, so the appraised value that our third-party appraiser determined was $2.60 per square foot. And the owner initially stated she wanted $9 per square foot, and then later countered-offered at $6 per square foot. Which was still more than twice the appraised value. We did offer, as is required by state law, to pay for a separate appraisal to be conducted for the property owner to obtain her own appraisal of the property, and she declined to do so.
Any other questions? Is there any public, should I do public comment first?
We should absolutely ask for public comment, in particular comment from the property owner if she or her daughter are on the line.
Okay, could we
Allison, I have a question actually, Mayor Perez. Since it's too close to my business, am I supposed to set up this meeting?
This is outside the sphere of the radius from your property, Councilmember Molly, but if you are concerned about the appearance of impropriety, it would not be inappropriate for you to recuse.
Okay. Actually, I'm going to recuse anyway.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
It would be appropriate then. And the reason for your recusal is because it is located nearby property you own and a restaurant.
My business, yes. Yeah.
Yes, for your business. So it would be appropriate for you to turn off your mic and, turn off your mic and your camera at this time. Thank you, Councilmember Molly.
Okay. Kill the screen, please.
Sorry.
And is there any public comment?
At this time, anyone wishing to come in on CB1, please press *9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press *9 at this time if you wish to come in on CB1.
Not seeing any. Is there a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve CB1.
I'll second it.
Let's
and
vote.
As a reminder, with Councilmember Molly's recusal, it will require a unanimous vote.
*9 at this time if you wish to come in on CA1. Dave Bowman, you may press start. You may unmute yourself and begin.
Thank you again. Mr. Mayor, how were these two chairpersons selected? Were they selected by the city council and yourself? Or
no, just me.
You did this all by yourself?
All by myself. It's what the city charter provides.
Under which section of the city charter is that, sir?
Well, I can tell you how to get a copy of the city charter, and you can read it and find it yourself, but I don't have it on the top of my head. Maybe the city attorney can help us.
Mr. Attorney?
Madam Attorney, thank you, but I am looking right now.
I apologize.
I can tell you that according to the city charter, all appointments to all commissions are made by the mayor with the concurrence of the council. I nominate, the council approves. The all chair.
Sir, not to go ahead.
Am I still on?
You're still on.
Okay, what happened to Mr. Bowman?
I have no idea.
Is he still wanting to speak? I guess
And
not.
also, as a reminder, council members, also consideration before you tonight is the approval of the bylaws for the Measure LC committee.
Okay. We do those with separate motions, is that correct?
Those should be separate motions, yes.
All right. So anyway, I've made the nomination. Is there?
I'll second your nominations.
So let's vote.
City Council Member, Agency Director, Authority Members Doris?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Mann?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chris?
Yes.
Mayor Parrish?
Yes. Okay. Now the bylaws. Is there a motion? Well, is there any questions about the bylaws? Any public comment regarding the bylaws? Is there a motion regarding the bylaws?
Moved.
I second that.
Then let's call the roll.
City Council Member, Agency Director, Authority Members Doris?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Mann?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chris?
Yes.
Mayor Parrish?
Yes. Passes unanimously.
And can I get a nod of heads that that was to approve the resolution adopting the bylaws? Thank you. Just for clarity. Thank you.
You guys, the public is watching.
I just thought of a bobblehead for whatever reason.
If it helps, Daryl, I've always thought of you as a bobblehead.
Oh, here we go.
And it's
just jealous because I got a neck.
And we're off again.
Okay, let's move on to council reports. Does anybody have a report?
Sure. I'll start with ABTA. ABTA did meet today. We met in chambers. It was the first time we've met in a year. It went well. They've done a great job sanitizing everything. We're still trying to recover from the COVID. We lost over 70% of the bus riders, and they've made other plans to get to work or they're working from home. So to get those people back, we're just doing that this time. But our local fleet is 100% electric, and we're doing good at ABTA. With CR2, the Board of Directors for the Sanitation District, there was a scheduled rate increase for everybody, and we fought hard to eliminate that. We were successful in eliminating the scheduled rate increase. I don't think that it's necessary for the Sanitation District to have over $40 million in reserves, and that's what they have currently. So if we ever need those reserves, we can operate the business for 3.5 years, almost 4 years, without taxing anybody. So we were able to kill that at the meeting. So that's it. Everything's good.
Good.
Thanks, Marvin. Hopefully the public will acknowledge that too when there's a scheduled rate increase, because that obviously would have went to their tax bills and they'd had a tax increase.
Yeah,
so thanks.
It's a significant increase, and they're asking for it to be put on to the next year. So the public needs to be diligent and watching their tax. And they also need to be able to, for the restaurant people, to file appeals for the water appeals for the sanitation district. That's very important. To file an appeal to get your water. If you weren't open, there was no water going in or out. So we voted back last April to create an appeal process. We have created that. So sometimes we have to hold our own feet to the fire.
You mean you think it's not fair to charge people for stuff they didn't get?
I think that sometimes government is, just because they can tax people doesn't mean they should.
Actually, Marvin, you've been extremely diligent in making certain that, I mean, as burdensome as COVID has been, it would have been a lot more burdensome, but for your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, does that conclude the council reports?
Yeah, I don't have anything, Mr. Mayor, until the middle of April when I have the rest of my meetings, my board meetings. So I'll be reporting at the second meeting in April on SCAG and High Desert Corridor.
Okay, great. In regards to the vaccination, all of our efforts at this point should stay focused on COVID-19. We have to get people vaccinated, whatever it takes. I'm confident that the council agrees with me, but as a direction to staff, this is the time for us to get creative, innovative, and adventurous. Catherine Barger's office is coming through with the vaccine. Now it's incumbent upon us to put them in people's arms. So let's make certain we do that. Larry, I see you came back on. Do you have something for us?
No, I agree with what you just said. We've got. I got off in the middle because a friend of mine called and said she wanted help getting vaccinated, and I got her onto the city Kaiser site. So she has an appointment for tomorrow, which makes me think that not enough people are signing up. If she could get on tonight and get an appointment for tomorrow, that means that there was no delay, which is great for her, but makes me concerned that there are people that are on the fence that are still worried. And if they're worried, we should try and allay their fears. I totally support anybody asking questions, trying to find out more about, understand the vaccine. But as far as I can tell, this is a scientific miracle. It's a victory for medicine and science and for public health. And we should be the beneficiaries of it. So.
23,000 people in LA County alone have died. 23,000. Nobody has died from the vaccine. Nobody. Now, it is true that there have been people that got vaccinated and then died, but there were also people who ate ice cream and then died. What is it? Correlation doesn't prove causation. And there have been so few instances where somebody had anything that could be attributed as an adverse effect, other than you will get sick on the second shot, and you'll be sick for one day, and then it subsides. Larry Stock told me at the very beginning of this that it's going to be because the Larry was sitting there. He was in Africa when Ebola hit. He's worked with these things, and he told me, he said, this is going to be very difficult and very hard, but when it comes to an end, you're going to be looking at yourself and asking yourself, did you do all that you could do? Right now, all you have to do is get the vaccine. If you're afraid to get the vaccine, do it anyway. That's what courage is doing something you're afraid of. And why should you do it anyway? Because you are part of this community, and we want people to stop dying. It's that simple. And you've heard from the doctors and the nurses that are in that hospital as hundreds of people in our city died alone with nobody to hold their hand, nobody to pray with them, over Facebook. That's how most people who were dying died. They got to see their family on Facebook. now you got to do your part. And this, a year from now, you're going to be looking at yourself in the mirror and asking, did you do your part? Go to the fairgrounds and get your shot. We have moved mountains to get those shots there for you.
Rex, maybe we can do a campaign on do your part and show people, let people come on that have had the shot, especially minorities, and let them just come on and share their experience. A 2-minute campaign or something we can shoot and let people see themselves and their communities.
Yeah, no, that's probably a good segue. We're talking about, I was going to jump in on my conversation, but we're looking at a partnership with High Desert Medical that Rex alluded to earlier. That'll get up to early on in the process, about 4,000 a week. We've done 10,000 already at the Kaiser site, and it's been open for 2 weeks. And those vaccines are available. Get online and get your reservation. But we put together kind of a video to help market the vaccine and what we're doing out there. And constantly pushing that. So if Katie's ready, she can post up that video. Just a short video kind of alluding to what you talked about, Daryl.
Today we are at the Antelope Valley Fairgrounds where we're doing a big vaccination site so that we can immunize as many in the community as possible against COVID-19. We're having a walk-in vaccination clinic, and people will come in, they will actually park out in our parking area. From there they walk in. We have them go to individual pods. They will register for the vaccine. They get the vaccination. They then do a 15-minute observation time, and everything goes well. They are able to then just leave and proceed home.
Just came in to get my first vaccine. I have some underlying conditions and was waiting for the opportunity, and as soon as it became available, I jumped at it. Very, very simple, very easy, no waiting. I just pulled right up, came right in line. No DMV experience, and I just want to be safe. I want to keep my family safe.
But a lot of people have said, oh, it's going to hurt, your arm is going to be out of whack. So far, so good, Take the shot so we can get out of this. I want to go to a movie theater. I want to go out to dinner. It's very simple. Make your appointment and take the shot. It's free.
Events like this in the community are vitally important to get back to any sense of normalcy. So we have to get as many people in the community vaccinated as possible, and we're trying to assist in that process here in our vaccination site.
If she can do it, anybody can do it.
Anybody else have anything they'd like to say or do? I do want to remind people that when you go to the vaccination site, there's also, and it's going to take all of us working together, but I don't have any doubt that we can do it and do it well. I also had a reason to call the Sheriff's Department last week. They were superb, absolutely incredible. And so, Todd, I just thought I wanted to tell you that, and you could pass it on, that I got to experience it firsthand. They know what they're doing.
See certificates from the state Senate, the state assembly office, the county of Los Angeles, the city of Palmdale.
And many other sponsors, as well as the city of Lancaster, many other sponsors as well. So shout out to Marvin and AVTA, as well as our partners in Palmdale. Dr. Stock will be doing an Ask and Mask there. So we will have doctors available in each section, kind of asking those questions and encouraging vaccines. And we're working hard. And we hope that Anders is going to come through and deliver a mobile vaccination site at there as well for those who need the vaccines. We have a captive audience. So we're working that. No promises there, but we're working that diligently. And last but not least, our Easter programming. As you know, we usually do an Easter egg hunt that is loved by our community. We're changing that up a little bit, obviously due to COVID, but it might be a new tradition. So with that, I'll turn it over to Katie to play the video, and then my report is done.
Course, jackets this time of year, but I applaud you for that, and I hope to gosh that we can actually get to the point that we
do with the constitutional violations. That would be H, L, and J. You'd have further issues on page 6, the developer's knowledge that he's involved in legal proceedings. Apparently, he didn't come forthright with that because I'm in litigation with him, so he didn't tell you about that. And then 408, maintenance of the property, the decent and safe sanitary manner. So, and 406, the discrimination. So, with respect to other things, hopefully I brought this to your attention already. Maybe with the 2 COVID deaths out here that they're hiding, maybe you could encourage the people out here to try to get the people vaccinated out here. Moving right along. For instance, you guys have put together a group, I believe, that consists of the vice mayor, Councilman Doris, and homeless deputy mayor. I reached out and not received any communications. Nobody seems to want to come out, take a tour, and see what's really going on. Sunday morning, I was attempted to be robbed at 6 a.m. in the morning, and someone tried to come into my apartment, and security did nothing. Yesterday morning, for instance, I witnessed a resident telling staff members, 5 or 6, if they didn't give him their drugs back, that he was a Detroit Crip and he would kill all of them repeatedly. And I had to listen to a lot of very racial language that's very upsetting. So we have a whole lot of problems out here that aren't being looked into. We have the mail problem. This place has been here 500 days. I personally have 5 postal inspection reports, which I can provide the numbers, which I already have. So I hope somebody, if you guys have a committee, well, I've invited the people to come out and I would give them a tour.
Thank you, Mr. Aber. Your time's up. Heather, did you want to comment?
You're muted, Heather. Oh, there you are.
Oh, sorry about that. I just wanted to say that I have been out at Kensington campus twice a week for the past 3 weeks, so I am aware of what's going on out there. We have been having meetings to address some of the issues.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I get so irritated. There's problems out there. It's a whole new innovative program. We're going to have to fine tune it. We're going to have to make changes. But, you know, that people are living in housing that, I mean, it's great housing. And it's essentially free to them. And I wish I would hear some of the good stuff about it instead of just, you know, more and complaint. But I guess I'm asking for too much. Okay.
Also, can I just give an account of myself, because I know David Abner have said twice, mentioned my name, and I did speak with him, but I wanted to be known that I did schedule an appointment to go to Kensington, but when I heard that you had went about a day before I went, it was no need of me going, because you had already seen and addressed. You had talked about the mail, you had talked about other issues. So if the mayor went, it was no need of me going to see the same things that were already you were addressing. You literally addressed many of the questions that he had brought up. So I just wanted to let it be known that it wasn't ducking it. It just that one of us had already went out, which is our leader. So I went on and acquiesced to what you had saw and seen, and tasked Heather to fix it already, which I see she's already there and doing a great job at looking into it. So.
Thank you, Daryl. You know, I mean, how do I say this? We have to start looking at ways to work together on things instead of just criticizing what you think is wrong with it. And for the most part, I think people in this city do that. They work cooperatively towards resolutions and making things better. Just grow impatient with people that just complain about everything. Stated a desire to fulfill the promises that were made before we ever invested in the project. And I think they're sincere about that. But I think, but that doesn't mean we're going to stop trying or that we're going to stop doing what needs to be done so that people can thrive there. And Heather, I hear you got a job, new job.
Yes, I will be.
Nice to Heather.
Meetings between the City of Lancaster, the CEO of the People Concerned Property Management, and LA County, working on Kensington to kind of get through some of the hiccups. But we have had a lot of success stories out of there as well. So I do. I do appreciate what you're saying, that people need to.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Carter, and I'm a 30-year resident of Lancaster.
I'm sorry, Ms. Carter, before you get started, there's feedback coming from somewhere.
Yeah, me and technology. Damn it. All right. Hello?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. My name is Cynthia Carter. I'm a 30-year resident of Lancaster. My child went to school here. My grandchildren are. I'm a board member of ACLU, Criminal Justice. And I thank you for hearing me, Mayor, City Council. And I was calling to address the ordinance that will put these prohibitive fines on homeless, but not just homeless. The 500, and I can't think of the name of the ordinance, but the $500 to $1,000 fine will not help anybody. It won't help the city, and the money is not spent. And I work with developmentally disabled regional center clients, and one particular client is like a case study. He's a 40-year-old male. He's had problems in the past. He looks like a skinhead. He's not prematurely bald. His father takes care of him. And he's the type of person that he's not unhoused, but he never wants to be. A fine of $500 to $1,000 would absolutely devastate him. He's worked for years to build his credit back up. He's law-abiding, but he looks like a skinhead. Please do not pass this ordinance. A misdemeanor charge would be way better than him having to pay, or people like him, $500 to $1,000 for loitering and these other things, these other types of charges. This is punitive in the max. And while I appreciate the fact that you're saying that you don't want to criminalize people, it will criminalize people. He's not unhoused, but that would mess up his credit. He's currently trying to get his driver's license. He wouldn't be able to do that. That's just too much. That's too much money for even, and he's law-abiding. I mean, you know, he walks the narrow line, but he is developmentally disabled and he's often stopped. This type of fine, this fee, that $500 to $1,000 would absolutely destroy him. Him and his father together, both of them fixed income. My point is that just too much. I understand the reasonings behind it, and I understand that it's kind of like a old-fashioned loitering and lingering and type of laws that would get people off the street, but this will not serve to get anybody off the street. And this would—
Mrs. Carter, Carter, I don't mean to cut you off.
I'm sorry.
We've already dealt with that. I mean, we're not doing $500 to $1,000 fines. I mean, it's possible to get that high of a fine, but we've made it so that the hearing officer has a lot of discretion. Now, we did that I mean, the ACLU knew we were going to do that, and you rushed into court before the meeting the very next day, knowing we were going for legal fees. Let's be honest about it. It was a new ordinance. It was a new idea. It was an innovative idea that required some fine tuning, which we were more than happy to do. And I don't know if you know this, Mrs. Carter, but that's the truth of it. That's what really occurred. And I don't know if it's the local ACLU that's being manipulated by but I don't have any sympathy for it. I'm fed up with it. I mean, the ACLU for many lawyers is just a vehicle to rape the public. And, you know, I, for one, don't like being raped. I don't know about the rest of you.
Eugene Hernandez, resident of Lancaster, Green Party. First of all, I'd like to thank our Mayor, Rex Perez, because of his compassion and his interest in this community by giving out masks. I also would like to thank him and Kaiser because I was able to obtain my first vaccination at the Antelope Valley Fairgrounds, which went very smoothly, took less than 25 minutes. And I think his suggestion for having podiatry and for giving away socks is excellent idea. I would like to urge the council to pass rent control. As it is, I pay 95% of my income to rent. My wife and I are disabled senior citizens, and there's thousands of people in this city who are going to be in dire straits once the pandemic is over. My rent was raised $50 last year and now $60 this year, and I think it'll be wise to protect the people. Thirdly, last Sunday, again, the Los Angeles Times published an article regarding the Los Angeles County Sheriffs, which has a disgraceful history. And I think, again, as taxpayers, as members of the community, you should terminate the contract with the Los Angeles County Sheriffs. They show their callousness when they took pictures of Kobe Bryant's corpse, passed it around like souvenirs, and Alex Villanueva did not even investigate these sheriffs who had done this. I think that it's an ongoing shame that they have gangs in the Lancaster and Palmdale Sheriff's Department, and they're a danger that should be confronted. Thank you very much.
Caller with the last four digits, 4912. Please press *6 to unmute yourself and state your name. Caller with the last four digits, 4912.
Hi, good evening. My name is Ruth Sanchez, and I am calling in regards to the vaccination. Just want to let the mayor and the council members that I have visited 7 camps, 2 new camps this Monday, and all except by one have been approached regarding their vaccination. So people are still not being vaccinated out in the campgrounds. But also one of the things of the problems that we've been having is when they log in, anybody that is having those government phones, when they log into myturn.org, they're not able to go through the whole process of the website. And also when they called in, they're redirected back to the website. I had to assist a couple of people, telling them no, that they need to help them because they're not able to maneuver through the website and these phones. So that is a problem. And again, you know, the camps are still not being visited except for one. And now I see a lot more increase of these camps out here in Lancaster and Palmdale now as well. So Mayor Rex, don't worry. Soon we're going to be in Palmdale as well, so letting them know that they need to do their due diligence with them as well. But I just want to know, is there an actual, plan to actually outreach these other camps, because they're still not being outreached? They're not having masks. We've been taking masks, hand sanitizers again, and we still have a lot more. And we do it every week. We make sure that they have a week's supply of masks and stuff.
Dave Bowman, you may unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you. It's unfortunate that we find ourselves in these straits with Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, as well as now involving the city. And I went ahead and took a look at the contract. I forget what it's called that the city of Lancaster has with the sheriff's department. And it appears that there's a portion in there that requires someone from the city to speak to somebody with the sheriff's department in relation to a new ordinance, as far as how the ordinance is supposed to be, I guess, addressed by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Now, I know that the ordinance is new, but the reality is that there were a number of individuals that were affected by this. And I would think, well, actually what I'm looking for is I'm looking to go ahead and understand what the process is in relation to a new ordinance being passed and how the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department is informed of the new ordinance and instructed on how to carry it out. Thank you. Madam Attorney?
No other speakers at this time.
Thank you. We keep getting this reoccurring thing about let's get rid of the sheriff's department and have our own police department. You folks really want me to be in charge of our own police department? Really? I mean, you wouldn't like what happened. Trust me.
I reclaim my time.
I recognize that about myself, and I don't think it's a good idea for there to be. I mean, when you look at most of the problems that are occurring out there, it's with city police. It's not with county sheriffs. Now, are the county sheriffs? Can they turn really hard in hard situations? They can. That's what we pay them for. When I look at the actual day-to-day running of that department in Lancaster, I don't find a lot to complain about. I mean, you guys are giving them a bad rap. You really are. I don't know what happens in other cities, but I darn sure know what's happening in Lancaster. And anyway, just trust me. You don't want us to have our own police department. It would be a lot harder than it is. I think the people in our city have a right to be safe. They have a right to feel safe. They have a right to have their kids go to school without fear of gangs or just jerks in general. And, that requires a heavy hand. I just don't get this. I do think it has to be a fair hand, and we are doing a lot to make certain that's the case. I'm happy with how the Social Equity Commission is coming along, how the Justice Commission is coming along, Criminal Justice Commission is coming along, and we are addressing those issues, but we're doing it with the logical science approach to it. One of the Social Equity Commission members, or a couple of them, they were talking about being pulled over, and when they get pulled over, they're told the same thing, that you match the description of a robbery suspect. And I assured them that they did, because they were black and the robbery suspect was black. The point of it being is that's the issue we have to contend with, are what are the criteria for pulling anybody over? See, nobody ever pulls me over because I match the description of a white robbery suspect. And until we reach a place where it is equally enforced, then there's a real problem. But it's a problem that isn't caused by malice. It's a problem caused because we haven't applied the correct science to it. And we're working really hard with the Sheriff's Department to do that. Harold, you're looking like, did I cross a line?
I'm glad you said the last part, because the last part is what frustrates Black and brown. I don't see too many of my white brothers that deal with you match the description. So there's a couple of buzzwords that make our community get upset, and we have to deal with it, especially with what me and you just talked about this week recently with a retired sheriff. It makes people wonder, now we need to check the career to see if there was any bias in that. So again, this is something I think that we're missing a point, Rex, that we are working on a hybrid police department. We are working on that, where we can have the sheriffs focus on more of the severe cases, and we can handle more of the smaller cases. And it seems like one of the issues that's going on, not just mostly in America, let's talk about America, because like you said, it may not be happening necessarily in Lancaster, but where small cases escalate into a murder. I think that if we have people that are in our community that can deal with those smaller ones and let the sheriffs deal with major issues, we may not have these calls that go from, it should have been, maybe a social worker or somebody coming to talk to it till it escalates into something that's a tragedy that we have to deal with that's on a national level. So I am looking forward to what we paid for, which is the hybrid police department, that we can start separating these cases and start separating where we can really get what we're paying for. There is a psychological fear, Rex, that we have to deal with. That you have to talk about why there is an unarmed killing and what was the fear so great that, they just thought that it was a gun. And on the same time, me and Marvin have had many conversations about that split-second call to be fair to the officer, that he wants to go home and be with his family. And none of us are put in that situation where you got to make that call at a split second. So I believe in the 360 approach, that we got to look at both sides of it and come with a fair, equitable solution. But getting rid of the sheriffs, who's going to police us? Are you going to police us? I'm not going to police us. I'm like you. You don't want me policing either. I grew up in the streets of Inglewood, and I might have some PTSD. A lot of kids in the hood, there was a scientific study shown, and kids that are growing up in some of these gang-infested areas have worse PTSD than military soldiers because of what they've been through. So there's a lot of things that we have to address, and I don't think an overnight solution of getting rid of the officers is the answer. I believe that it's a scientific and a community approach that we've been working on that. And the Equity Commission is a step, hybrid police department is a step, and the DOJ I just met with a young man that the DOJ sent up here to talk with the Sheriff's Department about making sure that they're going over and doing what they promised that they would do, making sure that I talked with Mr. Weber, Captain Weber, about getting more into the community and not just basketball and playing games, but really getting into our, Black and brown community. So we are working and we're doing our part in the Antelope Valley. So can we do more? Sure. Are we perfect? No. Are we working on it? Yes.
Daryl, you want to talk about the catalytic converter opportunities that we're working with the Sheriff Department?
Go ahead, Marvin, because I remember you called me. It's something we've having a lot of thefts up here with that. It's a new ring or something going on with catalytic converters. And so the Sheriff Department asked to, and I actually have a member that it actually happened to not too long ago, where they're stealing this expensive parts out of cars. And so the Sheriff Department offered to etch people's initials or some type of marking so that if it is recovered, or they can tell that it's grinded off, that they know it was stolen. And the Sheriff's Department is looking to do it in the neighborhoods that seem like it's being prowled on the most. And Marvin called me about that. And so we're talking to African-American churches. Captain Weber is trying to get a plan going to where we can do it. And as soon as he gets a good program going, we're going to launch it with a lot of the African-American and Hispanic churches, along with, of course, all of our community. But apparently it was really hitting the Black and brown community very strong. So again, it's another part of us trying to work together in our community to make everything, nobody wants to come home and find that they wake up in the morning to go to work and their car is inoperable because somebody took advantage of them.
Thank you, Daryl. I think one of the things COVID has taught us as a community is that it really does require a multifaceted, everybody coming together if we're going to solve and if we're going to improve things exponentially. But what I'm totally unsympathetic to is this view, get rid of them. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. You know, that is not the community I grew up in, and it is not going to be the community that I die in.
I agree with you, Rex. Totally agree with you. And I think there's more African Americans that agree with that in the fact, because many of us moved from gang-ridden areas and came up here for a better life and other areas for a better life. What we do not want to is, like anybody else, be grouped with a group of people. I think that's African Americans' problem, where you can't tell the difference between a criminal and treating me like a criminal.
That's right.
That's the sore spot.
Absolutely correct.
And if we can fix that. My son is in a hip hop culture. He's getting his master's degree, but he happens at times to dress hip hop. And we got to make sure that officers know the difference between a gang member and a young man that's just dressing hip hop. You know, that's the issue. And that's the sore spot in our communities. And we're working on that. I like what you said. It's not linear. It's a 360 approach, because you can look at something from one side. Your side is correct, and what I'm looking at is correct. But we have to learn to look at it from each other's views and get a equitable solution. So, yes, sir.
You know, I thought that unarmed man being shot in Lancaster, Allison gets worried when I start talking about an active case. I can understand that. But nonetheless, I didn't think that was necessarily either the deputies or the victim being wrong, the way it came down. I think that if I, back in my drinking days, if I had been drinking and the deputies are at my door and they come in, I would think they didn't have a right to be in. And especially back in those days, I probably would have gotten a fight with them. And now I'd be terrified. And I could see grabbing a gun or trying to grab the gun, because I would have thought this was right after George Floyd. I could see the terror that took place in that house. But I didn't see what else the deputies could do. They got a call and the caller went silent. You know, it was a 9/11 call and they went silent. That usually means somebody is being prevented from talking. And that's a catastrophic emergency for that household. But we could do better in educating the population in Lancaster that when you call 911, certain things are going to happen. And you have to expect them. And you have to cooperate with them. And you don't get to fight them off at the door. That's an example of what we as a council, I think, should be looking at. How do we educate people so that these things don't happen? And I can't imagine what that deputy's going through. There is no doubt in my mind he did not want to hurt somebody. None. It was a thing that could have been avoided with us educating people better. Maybe it could have. And I think we should be spending some time on that. How do we educate the community as to what the deputy's point of view is? What do they see? I wouldn't want to be in their shoes, especially if somebody's trying to grab my gun, you know? But at the same time, I could see why maybe he did. You know, does that make sense to everybody?
It makes sense, Rex, but I also want this to be stated on record. That is also an old statement in the Black community. A man grabbed his gun when there's been many cases that it wasn't a grab for the gun. And so, you know, for us, we're going to always mistrust that statement. And just like the virus, it's one of those things that is very mistrusted in our community when an officer states that, because there's just as many cases where it hasn't been. And that's just an answer that is said. So I want to, again, that's that 360 linear approach. I agree with you. Our officers, we love our officers. We want to make sure that they're protected. We want them to go home. And at the same time, I don't know if people know the law changes, and I call it the OJ rule. When you call 911 for a domestic call, they have to come and check it out now. It's not the same as officer, everything is good and go home. They're going to come in that house. And you're right, it's an education. And many people feel that they have a right to keep certain situations, keep officers out their houses. And I don't think they're aware of the new law changes that happened just in the 90s when people are responding to a domestic violence call. So you're right, it's an education thing. but it's also a sore spot in our communities with that he grabbed my gun. Because that's the next thing that, why did you shoot him if he didn't have a weapon? Well, he grabbed my gun. That's the next logical thing. So, you know.
Listen, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there, but I do know.
I agree with you.
I do know we did this. We now have body cams on all of our officers, you know, and that was something that the Social Equity Commission wanted. We're the first, either the first or one of the first cities in the Sheriff's Department to get those. There was no resistance whatsoever from the department or from ALADS. They totally cooperative in that. That is a huge jump. That is a huge leap forward. And, you know, I wish the ACLU was giving them credit for that and celebrating that. I mean, imagine, you know, let's reverse roles with them for a minute. How about all you folks go to work wearing a body cam and your supervisor can see everything you did for 8 hours? You know, I think you get to turn it off when you go to the bathroom. I mean, for heaven's sakes, you know, give these guys some credit. I'm tired of it constantly being negative. That's a huge leap forward of social responsibility and accountability. The other thing, before we go, you know, I did have to call the Sheriff's Department last week. It was in the middle of the night, and I'm the mayor, and they knew I was the mayor. And nonetheless, I had to go out in my underwear with my hands up in the air before they could come in, because that's how it is. And you know, yeah, sometimes it seems like they're not being incredibly polite that we would like them to be, but they don't know what's happening. They don't know if it's, you know, what's going on, and they have to do it as safe as possible. And I wasn't upset about that at all. Although me in my underwear is a horrible sight. I think those officers need to be counseled for PTSD. Okay. Anybody got anything else on the council? Staff? Anybody? Oh, Todd? Is Todd Weber here? Captain? Where are you?
Yes, sir.
Would you make sure they take those body cams with me in my underwear and get rid of that?
It's in the evidence system loaded in the cloud.
So it's there forever now, huh?
I got a copy. I was going to put it on Facebook.
I hope somebody leaks it. I
imagine the ACU is going to be doing a public information request now. All right. I hope they get PTSD. I should stop, shouldn't I? Okay. So, if there's no other comments, the next meeting is scheduled for, I got a note here, it was changed. April 27th. At 5 p.m., Tuesday, April 27th. This meeting is adjourned. It should be our last meeting that's virtual. And then after that, we should be doing them live, because everybody will have done their civic duty and gotten vaccinated. The entire council, I guess, has been vaccinated now.
I'm getting mine Thursday. Mine's is Thursday. I had to wait my 30 days from December. So my 90 days rather.
All right, great. Thank you, you guys. Love you. Let's stay the course on this. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
good night, everybody.
What?
Will you state that we are adjourned?
Oh, and we are adjourned and the door is opening.